Hello, everybody, and welcome. Welcome back to our 15th anniversary of the 11 Days of Global Unity, the women's theme. Today is all about all these kind women leaders who are uniting for global unity. And I am so honored to bring to you these incredible women who are living really their purpose and being the change that they wish to see in this world. And my beautiful friend and all of the amazing, amazing work that she's doing in the world is so inspiring. I know you're just going to love her. Brenda, tell us a little bit about yourself and something that you're really excited about.
Hi there. Well, first of all, Karen, I'm really excited to be here with you and uh, be sandwiched in with all these amazing women, many of whom I do know and I get to spend time with on a regular basis, like you, and Laura Hansen and Joan Marie and Sandy Hart. And yesterday I was watching Summer Joy Raymer interview the gals that were over on the East Coast, a softball team helping the people that were struck by the hurricane. So what I'm excited about is being with all these amazing women. As Karen, I met through Sandy Hart because I became an ambassador for the Charter for Compassion Women and Girls sector. And that happened because of my friendship with Joan Marie here in Sacramento. And then she and I became involved in being co-directors for Northern California. And at the same time, 2 years ago, I was also invited because Laura Hansen was working with Stephen Dinan, the Shift Network, and he was going to kick off his very first Visionary Summit, which is what it's called this year. But for 2 years, it was the 2020 conference. And I was called in because of the fact that I was a co-founder for a school for children for 18 years. So for my own children and other people's children, I really got into peacemaking that long ago, and I didn't really look at it that way. I looked at it as a way to allow children to come into the whole of who they are by being provided with a safe place, safe environment, and to learn how to integrate their interests with everyday life. And so a friend of mine introduced me to a woman that had come across what's called the Sudbury School's philosophy. And so we opened a school in 1992 based on that philosophy, and we're the third school. And the reason I'm bringing this up is this is just so much the heart of where I come from, is bringing us around to being the child that we are and really tuning into the fact that it's important for us to follow what we love so that we can be that love and grow that love and that kindness. And so now that particular philosophy is, there's about 30 schools internationally based on that philosophy for children. So I did that for 18 years. And then during that time, I got involved in an organization called Mercy Springs, which is also why I met Joan. I was doing some training in hospice, and Joan was starting to kick off the International Day of Peace. And so then I wanted our Mercy Springs women to meet her and Dr. Bisharat. So I invited them to my home, and we all got involved in 5 days of peace, started doing that. And so then Joan and I, became involved. I found out that Laura Hansen and I had crossed paths in commercial photography business, all these things. We just kept coming together and having this circle get bigger and bigger. And for me, I had a sticker on my car many, many years ago, practice random acts of kindness. And so I've always felt it's so important for us to be kind to one another, whether it be a smile when somebody's having a bad day, especially like, during the holidays, somebody's, a checker, at a store, and they're having a bad day and people are complaining. In fact, I had a similar experience recently at a restaurant. And if we can tune in to how that person's feeling, and we can shine a light on their day and have some empathy and say, Yeah, it's a little crowded, isn't it? Or, just pick up on what we know is happening in their world,
Mhm.
because in the service industry, it's not easy to deal with consumers.
Right.
So there's a few things that have
Yeah,
kind of,
you just want to acknowledge, welcome everybody. Come on in. Come on into the Love and Light room. This is where we talk about unity and kindness and peace. And this is where we see our amazing, kind women leaders uniting for global unity. Welcome Sandy Hart and welcome Ivana Morano in New York City. Type in the chat where you're watching from. This is so incredibly inspiring to bring you these beautiful women. Brenda has been such an inspiration in my life. She's such a powerhouse woman that truly walks her talk and really is the epitome of compassion and kindness. I love the work that you're doing with gratitude and the work that you're doing with helping people with their grief and all the wonderful work that you've done with the alchemy for women. And I mean, not for just women now, we have the wisdom alchemy of, can you go into that a little bit?
yes, in fact, the women in New York, hello, Sandy and I, we were in New York in March, and we kicked off the wisdom of the alchemy of our collective wisdom and power of women and girls at the Henry Street Settlement House. And that was to kick off the Commission on Status of Women. And we did that in the Parliament, with the Parliament in November of 2018, where we gathered 200 women together, which that happened the first time in Salt Lake City at a Parliament. And so what I really resonated with and came into was the fact that we must anchor into our bodies and get out of the brain, which often goes into fight, flight, or freeze, in order to really tap into the wisdom of ourselves. And so I spell the words yourself, your cells, as YOURCELLS. Because as we know from the work of Sri Aurobindo, the mother, Bruce Lipton, and many others, the subconscious body is 88% in control. And right now, we are being inundated with so much fear, and that we don't even know really what we're absorbing. If you watch the internet, you watch the news, you see the horrendous things that are going on, we're absorbing, and we're not recognizing that we're grieving at the same time. As we're enjoying life, we're also grieving, because we're grieving for what has been lost, even if we haven't lost it ourselves. It's the way our body's made. And so when we go into sympathy, we're actually not helping another. It's like we're getting in the quicksand with them. And so we have to get out of the sympathetic nervous system into the parasympathetic nervous system, where we access our prana, our life force energy, and we come from the source. And so what I love is the peace pole. I have my peace pole here. Yeah. And I got involved in the peace pole Masahisa Goi's work.
And I had Renee, we had Renee and we had Maria earlier this afternoon.
Renee's the one that I met, and she just like turned, I knew the day I met her that Joan Marie introduced me to her, that was a pivotal change in my life. And it was the last day of the year, and I think it was 2016. And I wrote an article on my blog about that, and it was all about these shifts that are taking place. And this pole represents the Sushumna inside of us, or the chronic tube, or the Hara line, or where it is, whatever name it is. But when we go in, we drop into that space, there's a tiny space called the causal realm. And that is where the vagus nerve lives. And when we allow ourselves to drop in and really and release, secrete oxytocin, and this is what Dr. Ellie Drake then put into words and action with me for 4 years or more. She began Braveheart Women, and that came into my life because I asked for a blessing such as that. And so I've been traveling with Braveheart Women for the last 5 years or so. And And we've really been putting into action the oxytocin, and not only for women, because men can access this too. And so what we're working with now, as you all know, is the sacred masculine and the sacred feminine in each one of us. So no matter the skin I'm in, this is just a suit. And what's underneath is we're all the same. And so how do we tap into that and get out of the fear?
Could you take us through a process, maybe just a little one? Of maybe the grief that we're, if somebody's having something that they're holding still, or they're not ready to let go of, or that, a lot of the people in the world right now, like you said, are running on subconscious energy, their subconscious bodies. They're all trying to run away, fight, flight, and freeze.
Yeah. So one of the things is to acknowledge that tears actually clear our cells of the density and toxins. And so there's really nothing wrong when we go to cry. It's important to cry. Yet a lot of people, we stuff it in ourselves and we're going to deal with it later. Mm-hmm. And the problem is it packs in and it gets us into dis-ease, which, as we know, becomes dis-ease perhaps. So yes, let's walk through a process. I invite you to go in to your body, just close your eyes and just ask your body where it's feeling tension. And breathe into that area where it feels kind of packed in.
I feel it in my solar plexus, right above my belly button.
So now tap that solar plexus a little bit, as if you were tapping that little girl inside you, because she's still there. And she's sad that this is happening, or she's afraid. And so when you tap and you allow that myelin sheath to relax, or the cells in your body, if you think about them as being citizens, as one of my gurus calls them, calm the citizens inside your body and breathe with them. And allow them to speak up to you and say what they feel. And it may not be a direct effect from something that's happening. It may just be a feeling. And if your body wants to cry, allow the tears to flow. Because at the other end of that spectrum, as you open up, your nature is joy. Your nature is love. So breathe into the love that you are and allow that to flow. Love is so powerful. And relax your jaw and your mouth. And if you could just say the word, ah. That ha breath tells the hypothalamus in our brain that we're safe. Because right now we are safe. And it vibrates the vagus nerve, dropping us into our parasympathetic system. It drops us into our home base. We're safe. And from that place, we have the strength to be able to tune in and ask what is ours to do. And from that place of safety, then we can throw out a line, meaning we can send out a message. We can send out an email, make a phone call, say hello to a person that needs to hear from you. Or just open your eyes and look at the people that are in the room with you, if you're with other people, and connect with them. You see, the heart is in every single cell of our body. It's the center. Paramhansa Yogananda is famous for saying, center everywhere, circumference nowhere. So from my heart center to your heart center, we have a connection. When we get confused with all of the outside details, we go into chaos again. So the more we can come into our center and open our eyes and offer that to another, we're allowing the spirited energy within us to connect eye to eye, heart to heart with the people that we are able to assist, to the people that we resonate with, and the people that, let's say, our brain starts to divide and conquer, right? This is where we need to step in and step back and allow another to come in, because maybe that part's not mine and I need to be quiet and be the witness for something really beautiful to happen. So this is a part of the process of recognizing our grieving, allowing gratitude to come into our own selves. And what that does is it opens the gateways for grace to flow.
Mm.
And grace isn't always me.
Yeah.
I may not be the one. That's why we're collaborating. So first we're collaborating with our own selves and listening to them. And then we're opening ourselves to, either offer a hand up, a handout, or just be the presence that's needed for whatever's to happen here.
I love that. That was so beautiful. I really enjoyed learning a little bit more about that feeling and kind of noticing that inner child in there, in the solar plexus. I didn't really think about it until you said it. And then I felt her. I felt where she was. And it's really nice to be able to just check in like that. That's what we do with the kids too, is we check in. And we slow down our breath, and just like you said, we get that
Yeah. And it doesn't matter what it sounds like.
Feels so good.
It
It really doesn't matter how it sounds. But so this is a really awesome practice that you have. And what are the best ways for people to get in touch with you and to contact you and to support you?
Well, right now, I have a website, yet it doesn't really talk about this work very much, because I have a healing center called the Radiant Health Center, and radianthealthsacramento.com. Yet the work that I'm doing more of in the world has to do with the Charter for Compassion. Sandy Hart and I and some other women and men that we're getting together with, alchemyproductions.us. We're creating a gathering in Seattle, which was the first compassionate city in Seattle. And so we're bringing people together on November 16th. And I'm going to also be at the Visionary Summit here in Sacramento starting on Thursday. And on Saturday at 4:45, I'm going to be leading us in a circle with the Grief, Gratitude, and Gateway, and how it is that we connect with the world inside ourselves. I've had the pleasure of being with some of the Indigenous grandmothers and really being able to tune into our sacred connection. Stephen Dinan, as you may know, wrote this beautiful book, Sacred America, Sacred World, and it says here, fulfilling our mission in service to all.
Yes.
And
what's the website for that?
It's thevisionarysummit.com. And so that's starting on Thursday, and there's still plenty of room for you to come and join us. We have a beautiful 4 days that is planned with amazing speakers. We have the governor is going to come and kick it off. And the last 2 years.
.com?
Yes.
Okay.
And the last 2 years, we had Jennifer Newsom came, and she's, as you may know, a brilliant documentary filmmaker who has addressed the women and girls and men and boys issues of how, we've all been kind of told to stuff in the negative and only be positive, and boys don't cry, and women carry the burden of emotionalism and all that. And so we're all moving into our sacred masculine, sacred feminine together. And tomorrow we move into just an amazing new movement that's all this year we've been getting ready for the 2020. Tomorrow, I don't know if you watch our planets, but Saturn's going direct. A huge event that hasn't gone on for 500 years is starting in January. This is all part of our galaxy. And this is what I love about the indigenous tribes is and the Egyptian teachings and all. And I'm going to an amazing conference with some physicists and astronomers and geologists and archaeologists in October, because we are at a great turn of the wheel. Yeah. And we came here on purpose. Mm-hmm. And I'm amazed. When I came to this visionary summit 2 years ago, and I got in that room with these visionaries and the people that are creating great change in the world, I sat there at dinner the first night and I looked around and I went, wow, I can't believe I'm sitting here with all these people. And then I realized, these are my peeps. This is what I've dreamed for all my life. When I was a teenager, I dreamed a world like this. And we're here.
And we're finding each other, aren't we?
And we are.
We're finding each other and supporting each other and lifting each other up, because it's going to take all of us to lift humanity. And we're all in this together. And when people start to realize that, then they can stop suffering.
Yeah. And really, we're done with suffering. We really are. Yeah. We have, contrast is one thing, yet the suffering. And so the grief, gratitude, and gateway is all about recognizing that, a flower blooms every day and it dies. The trees, they blossom and they lose their leaves. We're built in that same way. Yet we keep stuffing it all in until we understand it. We're not here to understand everything. I interviewed the most amazing people the other day, and I was in awe with Sister Jenna and Philip Helmick. Yeah. And I was in awe with what they know, and I don't know what they know. And
will you tag me in that again so I can share that on all our platforms? Yeah. I really want to share that for today. I think Sister Jenna would be awesome. That would be a wonderful thing to have. She's an incredible, and Philip's a wonderful friend too. So I'm excited to hear about the Visionary Summit. And also, if you do any live stream at all, just tag me and I can get it onto all our platforms.
Wonderful. Yeah, it's amazing the work that everyone's doing in different segments. Yeah. And they're so talented and they have their expertise in it. And so we're going to have mayors, we're going to have the women and men of our fair city here that became a compassionate city. We're about to become the first compassionate state.
Yay! I know.
And so it's happening. And I was saying to Philip and to Sister Jenna, people don't understand what we're doing.
They really don't.
We don't understand compassion yet.
And even our families don't understand what we're doing. Our own families. And we have to figure out, how do we find inner peace with the conflict of our own home and our own family? We have to figure out, how do we stay in our own center? How do we stay, being the peace that we wish to see in the world, when people who outside of us are still in that third dimension, seeing things as all separated and seeing things as, disconnected and, like, what's in it for me? And why are you wasting all your time in not seeing the we in that we're all in this together? And, that's okay, because we just have to stay in our own truth. And I think that that exercise that you shared is a wonderful practice that anybody, I think, could do over and over again. So watch the replay, share this out, share it to all your timelines, share it to all your groups, share it to any pages that you manage. And let's just expand and amplify the goodness that is happening and the peace and the unity, and we stay focused on what we do want, and we don't put any attention
Yeah.
on what we don't, and we keep moving in the direction of unity consciousness. Any
Exactly.
last words, Brenda?
Well, just when we do that inside our own cells and we change the programming here, then that reverberates out. And so that's why I work so much with the body. And how do we find that peace inside? And that's what Sister Jenna and Philip were talking about, is peace building from the inside internationally. So I call it, this is my international inside me. And so how do I create a consciousness within inside me that is whole and complete? And that's how we tap into our holiness.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Brenda.
Well,
I
thank you, Karen.
hope you have a wonderful, wonderful summit. And please don't hesitate to tag me in anything so I can help amplify the good that you're doing in the world. And thank you so much.
Oh, I thank you so much too, Karen. I love getting to know you and being with you. Have a great day. Thank you.
Thank you. You too.
And when you come to the summit, whoever's coming, please come and join me at 4:45 on the International Day of Peace, Saturday. Okay.
That's so exciting.